Welcome to another episode of EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling. Today we are going over the results of TNA Victory Road. What an awesome event! Number 1. System defeated Order 4. Teams were Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Johnny Damgo Curtis vs. John Skyler, Jason Hodge, and Agent Zero. Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz were inside. Agent Zero was a beast in the match. The system worked together to clothesline him out of the ring. That opened the window for JDC to land a flying leg drop on Hodge for the win. Ash by Elegance forfeits Knockouts Championship. Ash was scheduled to make an announcement, and she vacated the title. Ash is no longer able to compete. She didn't give specifics. Ash thanked TNA for becoming her family. It was an honor to perform in front of the fans. Santino announced that the Knockouts Tag title match will be pushed to Thursday on Impact. He booked a battle royal tonight. The final two will wrestle to become the new Knockouts champion. Number 2. Knockouts Battle Royal. Contenders were Heather by Elegance, and by Elegance, Jessie McKay, Cassie Lee, Chia Brookside, Lei Ying Lee, Jody Threat, Danny Luna, Kelani Jordan, NXT, and La Pascarita. On the finish, the Inspiration were battling the Elegance brand near the ropes. Lee and Jordan dumped them all out to become the final two. Lee vs. Jordan for the Knockouts Championship will take place later in the evening. Number 3. Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man defeated the Nemeth, Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth, by pinfall. A very competitive match, which at one point Hometown Hero lost his mask but Matt Cardona outsmarted the Nemeths. Number 4. Singles match, Mike Santana defeated Ridge Holland by pinfall. Ridge Holland was lumbering and the match looked wonky. After the victory, Trick Williams attacked Santana. Number 5. Singles match, Mustafa Ali defeated Moose by pinfall with some help from outside interference by Tasha Steelz. The match was amazing and the ultimate speed versus power. Number 6. Singles match, Joe Hendry defeated Eric Young by pinfall. So many near falls where it was exciting and painful to watch. Northern Armory made the save and helped Joe Hendry to victory. After the match there seemed to be a send-off for Joe Hendry. Number 8. Tables match, Matt Hardy defeated AJ Francis. Brutally awesome where Matt Hardy went against Father Time and was just wild. AJ Francis had a great showing but the night belonged to Matt Hardy and he deleted AJ Francis. Number 9. Singles match for the TNA Knockouts World Championship, with Indy Hartwell as the special guest referee. Kelani Jordan defeated Lei Ying Lee by pinfall. The two stars put on a masterpiece of a match highlighting the great women's division from both companies. Kelani is something special and just put on a master class where she didn't lose sight of the TNA top prize. Number 10. Singles match for the TNA International Championship. Frankie Kazarian defeated Steve McCullin, by pinfall. A well-paced match that was visceral. It was a perfect Frankie cerebral approach versus McCullin's attack first, ask questions second. A returning Judas Mesias distraction was enough to take Steve McCullin's attention, which led to a new international champion. Number 11. Singles match for the TNA X-Division Championship. Leon Slater, defeated Myron Reed by pinfall. Wow, blink you missed a great fast-paced match of two of the best young stars. Leon Slater gets the win but before fully celebration, Santino Marella interrupted and introduced Je'Von Evans and at Bound for Glory the dream match is set, Leon Slater, vs Je'Von Evans. Just a splendid event, now to what
Welcome to another episode of EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling. Thank you Aisha for your TNA Victory Road results. Well, we have a fascinating what if. Today we have a big one that was actually discussed as a scenario. What if Jim Hellwig had taken the Big Van Vader persona instead of Leon White? The wrestling world would have seen a drastically different character and legacy. This would have significant knock-on effects for WWE, AEW, and TNA, now Impact Wrestling, given how integral both the Ultimate Warrior and Vader characters were to wrestling history. New Japan Professional Wrestling had their eye on Jim Hellwig. The idea was to give him the moniker of Big Van Vader. The Jim Hellwig version of Vader. This scenario requires a suspension of disbelief, as the character traits and in-ring style of the real-life Hellwig and Leon White were opposites. Hellwig's energetic, sprint-filled matches and less technical in-ring style would clash with Vader's signature brutal, stiff, and agile for his size style. The Hellwig Vader character would likely be a monster heel with a shorter shelf life. Like his Ultimate Warrior persona, Hellwig's limited in-ring technical skills would likely have prevented him from sustaining the dominance Vader was known for over multiple years. His matches would likely be short, high-impact squash matches. Volatile and difficult backstage, Hellwig's real-life reputation for clashing with promoters and co-workers would follow him, creating a version of Vader that was difficult to work with. This contrasts with the real Vader, Leon White, who was respected for his work ethic and willingness to put over other talent. Less agile and more explosive, Hellwig's wrestling style, which focused on power moves and explosive energy, would mean no moonsaults or high-impact technical maneuvers from the top rope. The mystique of a super heavyweight with surprising agility would be gone. Impact on WWE, WWF at the time. The absence of the Ultimate Warrior, loss of a megastar, WWE would lose one of its most iconic and charismatic main eventers of the late 1980s and early 1990s. The fan excitement generated by the Ultimate Warrior's face paint, physique, and high-energy persona would never exist. Hulk Hogan's successor problem, the legendary title versus title match against Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania VI, a defining, passing of the torch moment, would not have occurred. Without a ready successor like Warrior, the WWF's post-Hogan era would have faced a much more challenging and uncertain period. Altered storylines, iconic feuds and matches, including his program with Randy Savage at WrestleMania VII and the angle involving The Undertaker, would have been erased. Storylines would have needed to be completely rewritten. The Hellwig Vader's tenure. A different kind of heel, a Hellwig Vader might have filled the monster heel role, but his effectiveness would have been limited. A Vader known for short, intense, but technically limited bouts would not have had the same impact as the original, respected for both his intensity and believable offense. Less effective monster, because Hellwig lacked the technical prowess of Leon White, the Hellwig Vader would likely be exposed as less formidable when facing top-tier talent like Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker. Impact on AEW and WCW. The missing WCW powerhouse. No dominant Vader, the real Vader, Leon White, was a multi-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion and a centerpiece of WCW throughout the early to mid-1990s. This Hellwig Vader would have lacked the in-ring credibility and consistency to anchor the top of the card. Altered landscape. The legendary, stiff matches against Sting, Ric Flair, and Cactus Jack Mick Foley would never have happened. These brutal, era-defining feuds were built on Vader's believable intensity, an element the real Hellwig struggled with. A weaker competitor against the NWO. When the real Vader faced the New World Order NWO, he was still a formidable monster. The real Vader's aura helped legitimize the NWO as a powerful faction. The Hellwig version, with less in-ring credibility, would have been a less impactful foil. The butterfly effect on today's AEW. No blueprint for big men. Leon White's legacy as a super heavyweight with incredible athleticism influenced a generation of wrestlers and defied expectations for large performers. Without his example, the blueprint for athletic big men in wrestling might be completely different, affecting stars who draw inspiration from his work. No AEW star's hero. As many modern wrestlers look to the legends for inspiration, Leon White's absence might mean today's talent never got to see his blend of power and agility, perhaps altering the style of certain performers in promotions like AEW. Impact on TNA Impact Wrestling. Missing star power. Altered late career run. The real Vader had a brief run in TNA in the 2000s, but his legacy and impact were already cemented. The Hellwig version, with a shorter and more controversial career, may not have been seen as a worthwhile legacy act for the company. Lost star power. Leon White's name recognition and respected career made his TNA appearance notable. The Hellwig Vader, being a less credible monster than the original, would have been a far less significant draw for the promotion. In summary, a Jim Hellwig version of Big Van Vader would erase one of wrestling's most compelling figures while leaving a gaping hole in the WWF's main event scene. The character would be defined more by his off-screen reputation and limited in-ring work, ultimately failing to achieve the storied career of either the real Ultimate Warrior or the real Big Van Vader. The ripple effects would change the trajectory of professional wrestling in the 1990s and beyond, permanently altering the history of WWE, WCW, and modern promotions like AEW.
Welcome to the predictions section of the show. Of course, I don't need any introduction, but I'm Nigel the Yeti. I have been working tirelessly on Mr. Boinker's cartoon apocalypse, so gracing my presence is a treat for you mortals. NXT No Mercy predictions. Number 1. Singles match, Josh Briggs vs Je'Von Evans. This feud has been building nicely. Josh Briggs has had the upper hand, but this night belongs to the young Og. Winner, Je'Von Evans. Number 2. Weaponized steel cage match, Jordynne Grace vs Blake Monroe. Brooding violence, these two young ladies are willing to put each other through. The glamour has been always one step ahead. Hardcore and violence is in Blake's wheelhouse. Winner, Blake Monroe. Number 3. WWE Women's Speed Championship, Sol Ruca vs Lainey Reed. Sol Ruca wanting to give relevance to the title, she wants to represent the women's division. Lainey Reed may be the newest member of Fatal Influence, and with the recent departure of Jasmine Nix, they may assist Laylee. Winner, Lainey Reed. Number 4. NXT North American Championship, Ethan Page C vs Tavian Heights. This feud has been a slow burn and hopefully audiences are rewarded. Ethan Page has been focused on the AAA star Dr. Wagner, could be the greatest opportunity for Tavian Heights. Winner, Tavian Heights. Number 5. NXT Women's World Title, Jace Jane vs Lola Vice. Lola has been building a great reputation of being a locker room leader, and her recent international performances needs a reward. Winner, Lola Vice. Number 6. NXT World Championship, Oba Femi vs Ricky Saints. Ultimate David vs Goliath. Ricky Saints is destined for greatness, and it's only appropriate to give him NXT's top prize. Plus a perfect time to have Oba Femi get that call up. Winner, Ricky Saints. That's another episode. Now to Arvid and discussion.
Welcome to the discussion section. What's great week of wrestling? Let's start with the inaugural Wrestlepalooza, where ESPN graded the premium event AC. Now it wasn't great, but the score was a bit low. The fact the Io Sky vs Stephanie Vaquer was sensational, and the mixed gender match was tons of fun, where CM Punk and Arjali upended Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. It's the time of year. PWI 500 list of top wrestlers. This year's top 10 was. The top 500 wrestlers in the world according to PWI is as follows. Cody Rhodes, Jon Moxley, Gunther, Hangman, Adam Page, Hiroki Goto, Jey Uso, Swerve Strickland, Seth Rollins, Mystico, Will Ospreay. In an interesting turn of events, it was reported NXT's Jasmine Nix has turned down her contract renewal. Apparently the offer did not meet up her standard of living, so it will be interesting to see where this leads. She already stated she doesn't intend to go to OnlyFans, but the fact Mandy Rose has accrued over $3 million while Cora Jade reported her short stay has paid her over $300,000 would be tempting. Something in the air news. The newly and inaugural WWE Women's Champion had to vacate her title due to being pregnant with her second child, so congrats. In other vacated title news, as mentioned in TNA Victory Road, Ash by Elegance has vacated her title, where it led to a battle royal which then resulted in a finals match between NXT Kelani Jordan and Lei Ying Lee, where Kelani successfully won. In Hollywood news, it has been reported WWE's Drew McIntyre has been casted in the reboot of Henry Cavill's Highlander. So the movie has already reported Batista, so more WWE ties in Hollywood. In an ongoing investigation, it has been reported Masha Slamovich has been cut off by many independent events due to police reports of how she's been involved in spousal abuse against her ex Akira, where he reported on social media about the abuse. TNA has announced its 2025 Hall of Fame inductees. Mickie James for the individual, while Beautiful People, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky for the knockouts. Tony Khan had a special message on Dynamite and reported the development of AEW Women's Tag Titles, where a tournament will take place for the inaugural championship. Now let's go to the matches of the week, wrestlers of the week and indie wrestler of the week. Matches of the week. Raw. Rhea Ripley vs Asuka. The pairing of the two was pure bliss, where chemistry and athleticism was on full display. Plus it helps further the ascent to the feud between Asuka and Io while building the story of the pairing of Rhea and Io. NXT, winner take all TNA World Champion vs NXT World Champion Oba Femi. Not only was the match magnificent where both athletes displayed how the future is very bright in WWE but helped build a story that has been brooding for a long period. The match ended in madness where TNA stars invaded NXT where many pundits reported the show as one of the very best storyline and execution. SmackDown. US Title Open Challenge. Sami Zayn, C. vs. Je'Von Evans. Wow. The match was just amazing in every facet where Sami won the match but Je'Von won the world's respect and further proof how the future of WWE is in very good hands. AEW World Champion Adam Page vs Raw Pure Champion Lee Moriarty. This was just a fun match where the contrasting styles created an amazing match. Lee Moriarty is very underrated. TNA International Champion Steve Maclin and Mr. Anderson vs Frankie Kazarian and Jake Something. A bit of nostalgia with Mr. Anderson returning to the ring and a rather fun match that had variety of generations of TNA history in one ring. Wrestlers of the Week. WWE. Stephanie Vaquer, the new WWE Women's Champion, is living up to the hype. The Wrestlepalooza match was the best of the night and her poise is the real deal. Kris Stratlander, the new AEW Women's Champion, is the definition of hard work and dedication. No more deserving than the superstar being the top star of the women's division. TNA. NXT's Kelani Jordan, she has been sensational where her wrestling style is so much fun to watch. Said multiple times but WWE's future is so very bright. Indie Star of the Week. Bruno El Oson Blanco, the current Pro Wrestling Magic Champion. Also known as the Meadowlands Monster and has taken part in Power Slap. The veteran is a throwback to a brawler who kicks butt as a favorite pastime. Well, that's another great week of EveryRing. That's everything wrestling. Like always, chalo kushti karate hai.
Wrestling is something special, as you can see our human element dealt with a lot of superstars. King Kong Bundy, a wrestler deserving WWE Hall of Fame. Sherry Martel was an amazing person who helped revolutionize the women's division. The Crusher, who Milwaukee famous, was a classic star. Puppet the Midget was a bigger-than-life superstar who is both engaging and ahead of his time. Wrestling is life and we want to push it forward.
Thanks for tuning in to Channel 14, Kenosha Community Television. Remember to tune into my program, Just Talkin', shown right here, Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Channel 14. On the program, we cover community events, talk to nonprofit organizations, and who knows, we may bump into a celebrity now and then. So remember to tune in to Just Talkin' Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. right here on Channel 14.
Kenosha Community Media. For years, we have informed, entertained, and performed community services for the city of Kenosha. Kenosha Community Media is your television station where you are the star, creator, and performer. To contact us, 262-564-6103. Website, kenoshamedia.org.
EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling is carrying out the tradition that was brought to you by Diablo Angelico and Danger Dan. The show must go on. Mondays at 5 p.m. and Fridays at 6 p.m. on Kenosha Community Media. Channel 14 with Spectrum or on Roku KCM streaming. With EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling will keep you updated and informed. Mondays at 5 p.m. Fridays at 6 p.m. Tune in and enjoy wrestling. The renaissance of wrestling is occurring as we speak, so be part of sports entertainment. Each week you can see the discussion with topics, wrestlers and matches of the week. Looking at the big three: WWE, AEW and TNA. So if you enjoy wrestling and everything that makes wrestling special, tune in KCM 14 on Mondays at 5 p.m. and Fridays at 6 p.m. EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling.
Bonkers Cartoon Apocalypse, where classic cartoons are revisited. Saturday at 10 a.m. and Sundays 10:30 a.m. If you enjoy classic and rare cartoons, you go to show. Nigel the Yeti is taking the reins while Mr. Bonkers add to the programming. The likes of Betty Boop, Popeye, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Felix the Cat and so much more. On Kenosha Community Media Channel 14, sit back with friends and family and relive the magic of morning cartoons. Wake up, gather the family and enjoy cereal and relive one's youth. Mr. Boinker's Cartoon Apocalypse, where whimsy is part of the magic. Join the other circus freaks where cartoons were fun and artistic. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. and Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy what made mornings special. Mr. Boinker's Cartoon Apocalypse, where classics fill the time.
What the heck are we watching? Movie reviews without pompous and pretentious critics who have agendas. Kenosha Community Media, Fridays at 5 p.m. and Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. Cinephiles who like movies for entertainment and not rants and raves who make the audiences feel bad for themselves. Weekly discussion on movies and with no alternatives. The movie reviews are to help audiences to make their decision. Not only are modern movies reviewed but a discussion on hidden gems, where good movies that have fallen through the cracks and forgotten. So before you go out, check out What the Heck Are We Watching? On Kenosha Community Media Channel 14. Fridays at 5 p.m. and Saturdays at 10:30 a.m.
Just Turned Heel, hosted by Danger Dan and Diablo Angelico, as seen on EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling. Behind the curtain look at professional wrestling. A gritty shoot style of interviews where we look at various aspects of wrestling. Ever wanted to know what an indie star needs to do to get their foot in the door? Ever wanted to know what a booker does? Ever wanted to know the purpose of a referee is? Just Turned Heel will plunge into the world of wrestling and look at every facet. Just Turned Heel, YouTube exclusive, starting January 28, 2024.
You haven't seen horror till you've seen horror of the crying skull. See teenagers getting killed. See horror coming at you every scene, and a skull. See the skull coming at you. The skull, and hear her cry. I hope you enjoy the horror of the crying skull.